that attack it when like defenders.
I think it's like.
Am I live? Of course I'm live. People deluded. I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in each and every time. One love to everybody who's tuned in. Sorry about that. There was a bit of dirt there. Shout out the Twitch gang. First things first, I appreciate everybody who's tuned in this morning. While it's a morning affair over here in the United Kingdom, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night in some cases. Once again, one love to the Twitch gang. Appreciative to all of you lot that are tuned in as the numbers keep growing and bit by bit we're getting bigger and better. On that topic as well, Twitch gang, do not forget 7:30. Again, I asked you lot, and we was going to do a vote for the games on today, what we should do a watch along for. And someone rightly so said, you know what, it's AC versus Inter Milan. So it's Serie A business. 7:30 on Twitch. We're going to be doing a watch along for that. Tomorrow at some point across Twitch, we'll get a vote going because there's Fiorentina, Juventus, but there's also a bag of action. And obviously, there's a couple bits and pieces in midweek where the Premier League's concerned. You've got the FA Cup and you've got hella talking points. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about Jesse Marsch becoming the Leeds gaffer. We're going to talk about Roman Abramovich, Usmanov, and there's a lot of sanctions. You know, the latest thing, obviously, I got nothing to do with F1, but I see that there's a Russian driver or something like that. There might be ramifications. There's been sanctions against Usmanov. You can already see they're on Roman Abramovich. Spartak Moscow, I believe, have been kicked out of the Europa League, etc., etc. I mean, you know, these things. I will say this, you know, it just what it has shown is it can be done. You know, it can be done. You know, I'm not with the whataboutery and things, but I would have loved this energy shown over racism. You know, this zero tolerance thing could get done with this, but obviously, people, it is what it is where everything's concerned. We're gonna get over and into a lot of these things. As I said, 11:30, I go live again. That's on YouTube. If you can't be there, hit the like button. Let's fuck up the engagement, man. But before we carry on, what are you lot saying? Good morning. Oh, it's not even bringing it up. What's going on here? What's going on here, Twitch? You're playing some funny man games. You're not even bringing up people's comments. Thank you very much. Good morning, DJ, and everyone inside. Hope you're having a blessed morning, noon, evening. Always, man, with you guys, it's a pleasure. Obviously, I've woke up with breath in my lungs, relative good health. I can't complain about nothing, man. Just have to move that much closer to my own goals, hopes, dreams, and aspirations and things. And for everybody listening, I wish you the same. Come on, man. What's going on? What is going on? Some delays with bringing up these comments. Apologies, Tarn. Shout out to you. Enough love, everyone. Hope you've got your ingredients ready to throw down some pancakes. I'm not with the pancakes, Tig. And like you've said, where the comments are taking forever to upload. You tell me what happened to keeping politics out of football is very subjective, really and truly very subjective. But we all know it just depends on who you are and whatnot. I'm baffed. It's not the players or whoever is at fault. They ain't putting or whoever is backing him. But hey, it is what it is, you know. I mean, I agree with the sentiment, not with sanctioning, like you said, but I agree with the sentiment. There's kind of zero policy and things like that. But we all know these things are not being done to care about the players. They're being done to put pressure on Russia to kind of make Putin public enemy number one more so than he is. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. Again, as by birthright a European, but ancestral home is not here. I stay out of these politics. I feel everybody's wrong. Everybody's a kind of a villain and whatnot. And while I feel Putin is no saint, I do think it's, you know, it's very much a thing of the West to portray propaganda and make out that he isn't totally the enemy when they're all bellies of the same beast. You're all cunts. Of course, you know, Putin has some serious backward views with human rights and whatnot, but let's not act like the West hasn't been pissing off the rest of the world. That's why you see Russia's got allies with China, etc. And I think when you look at the geography with America and Russia and all these things, obviously they lie to you anyways about flight patterns and things like that. Like, I'm not saying the Earth is flat, but you know, just you know, if you just do a basic bit of research, everything they tell us is kind of a lie. I'm not saying it's flat or round, but even the flight patterns, you know, again, they say that, you know, you go in the quickest to get somewhere is in a straight plane. Like, again, I would just say, I watched a video on it yesterday. Go and watch how travel in the southern hemisphere works. You know, it shouldn't really take that long to go from somewhere like Argentina to South Africa. But go and look at the ways around it, man. So yeah, man. Again, they're all bellies of the same. They're all bellies of the same beast. We all know there's been a war against Russia and Russia versus the West for a while, and it's transpiring into sport. You obviously see sanctions and whatnot for what happens there. I wonder what the Russian propaganda is saying. You'd have to speak to someone Russian or go to Russia. It's very hard, but I'm trying to remember it's Putin and not Russia. Bellies are the same beast to me, but you all hate me equally. So it is what it is, really and truly, it is what it is. You all hate me personally, you all hate me equally, so it's brazy, man. It's brazy. And on the topic of the maps, when you look at how close Russia and America actually are, like Alaska, you could see Russia, like, man, they'll have you believe that this beef is like two opposite ends of the world, whereas it's the beef is quite local, really. But it is what it is where that's concerned, people. Let's get into some of this stuff. Where should we start? Let's start with that, with Russia being the theme. Let's actually start with that, man. Let's eliminate some of these things. Yeah, the maps are incorrect because Africa is bigger than Russia, but it's made to look smaller. See the fuckery? It's crazy, boy. It is what it is in that regard. Let's get. Why is it not coming up? Let's start with this, people. As you know, obviously, safety's first. And while I have great fears for Ukrainians, obviously, with what's going on, it must be even scarier not being from that country and this mad thing happening. As we've seen, Nigerian and Caribbean, well, Jamaican and Nigerian / African / West Indian students are kind of having to do a lot to get out of there. Obviously, footballers, they're economic migrants. They've come to Europe to work, really and truly. And on the best of days, there's hella racism in Ukraine for these players, like you see. And now there's a threat of potentially losing your life. But apparently, Shakhtar Donetsk players have been evacuated to Romania. Hopefully, their family. As you know, a lot of players, not only go to big European teams from England. Not everyone can do that. So, I mean, from Brazil, some people got to go to Shakhtar and Russia and these sort of countries where the work permit laws are a bit more relaxed, and this allows them to get their feet in the game before they move on. You look at Fred, you look at Willian, and these sort of examples, Douglas Costa, all of these things. But for what it's worth, Shakhtar Donetsk have evacuated their Brazilian players to Romania following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Premier League club worked with UEFA to move the 12 players away from the conflict, which continues to obviously escalate across the country. Apparently, Dynamo Kiev and SK Dnipro have also managed to move foreign players from Ukraine. They have said, we want to thank for the assistance everyone who took part in this process. The evacuation of the players was made possible thanks to the personal assistance of UEFA President Alexander Shevkin, the Ukrainian Football Association President, and the Moldovan Football Federation President. And as you know, the Ukrainian Premier League was scheduled to start again, but as you know, they've not played a fixture since the 11th of December because of the winter break, and now there's obviously this. As you know, on yesterday, FIFA and UEFA announced a bunch of suspensions affecting Russia's football clubs at club level, at international level, and also in and around sponsors. We've got a couple more articles to see on that as well, so we're going to circle back, but continuing the process of eliminating and staying with Russia. Usmanov, Everton linked Russian billionaire, has his assets frozen by the EU. So again, this is, I'm not saying Russia is right or Ukraine's right or whatever, because I don't know, but this is aimed at demonizing and scrutinizing Russia or Russians, and maybe putting indirect pressure internally or in-house on Vladimir Putin. You can probably bet that there's probably subsequent, I don't know, but sanctions that Russians will do, I don't know, affecting potential Europeans or whatever. But anyways, Usmanov, who has commercial ties to Everton, has had his assets frozen by the EU as it announced further sanctions in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And I do think it's a bit mad how really just the fact that he's Russian means we can do this thing. I don't know if he's got ties with Putin. I mean, someone with all that money, he can't. There you have it in it. You can't, but that much money in Russian, you can't not have ties to Putin. Even if you don't want to be Putin's friend, Putin's gonna shout you, and you've got certain things to be doing. But it's crazy. Apparently, the restrictions include a prohibition of making funds available and an EU travel ban, so he can't go anywhere. And obviously there's ways around that, but just at base level, does that mean there's no bread for Everton? Usmanov's own company USM Holdings sponsors Everton's training ground. It also has the exclusive naming rights option on Everton's new stadium. Everton owner Morshisi is the chairman of USM Holdings. It's not yet clear what, if any, effect the move might have on Everton. The club have been contacted for comment, BBC said. Apparently, Usmanov is a pro-Kremlin oil guard with particularly close ties to Putin. It added that he is extremely supportive materially or financially Russian decision makers responsible for the of Crimea and the destabilization of Ukraine. So just they deem badness. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it is what it is. More sanctions being placed. Roman Abramovich allegedly has been asked by Ukraine to support their attempts to find a peaceful resolution with Russia. The billionaire spokesperson has also said. They also added Abramovich was contacted by Ukrainian officials and has been trying to help ever since. Ukraine has called for a ceasefire before peace talks in Belarus. As you know, Putin has launched a military invasion of Ukraine, and every day on Twitter and all these things you're seeing, you're seeing the attacks and that. Apparently on Sunday, 352 civilians, including 14 children, had been killed, and that's what is the most upsetting thing for me in war or problems in the world. It's like, the rich elite or the powerful elite or the very powerful few, regardless of whatever country, this is a video game for them because they'll find peace talks and it's blessed. Many people have had their lives all over the world. This goes for not just this turned upside down. A lot of people have had to move and leave countries. They've seen shit with their eyes that they can't unsee. They've experienced things, unfortunately, that they can't go back on. And one thing that is chilling for me has been when you see half of the army and all them things, it's little youths. Like, I'm 26, they look younger than man, and like it's 14 children that weren't obviously involved in the army, but they've lost their life. They didn't pick this. They're little youths, and who knows what they could have grown up to be and whatnot, man. It's quite upsetting that ultimately things are done. What the fuck? Things are done without us. Like, it's just crazy, really. But yeah, obviously they said that he's involved in some peace talks. Apparently, Abramovich announced on Saturday the stewardship and care of the club was to be given to trustees of the Chelsea Foundation. People, scrolling all the way down. Considering what is at stake, we would ask for your understanding as to why we have not commented on neither the situation as nor his involvement. I can confirm that the Ukrainian side have been trying to find someone in Russia willing to help them in finding a peaceful resolution. They are connected to Roman Abramovich through the Jewish community and reached out to him for help. Abramovich has been trying to mobilize support for a peaceful resolution ever since. Although Roman's influence is limited, he is the only one who's responded and himself to try. So if this is true, I would say Gary Neville needs to say sorry to Roman Abramovich because they condemned Roman. And then now look what a man's doing. I'm not saying anybody's right or anyone's wrong. I just feel Gary Neville was very self-righteous with his comments, especially considering the people he works for and whatnot. And where do we draw the line at morality? I'm not saying what Russia is doing is right, but this home country in the UK, look at what they've done throughout the years. Look at the famine that they've done in Kenya. Look what they've done in the Middle East. Look what they're still doing to this day. I know nothing about Russia or Ukraine, and they've probably got their own gun suppliers and all these things. But 9 times out of 10, when there's conflict, who is the one exporting these arms? Because all the UK cares about is money. Salary first, conscience later. They'll do that on the back end, but in the front of you, on your in the front on BBC and all of that, they will tell you they condemn these things. War makes the world go round. War is profitable. Unfortunately, this is what the world's always been. Unfortunately, it's always been governed by war and all these things. And as much as I would love it to be with peace and all of that, bro, these people at the top, they don't want peace. Peace doesn't give them bread. It's crazy, man. It's it's ingrained within them to colonize and ruin things and break things and just take humanity to this point, really and truly. It's quite upsetting, really. Like, it's boy, what more can be said? Obviously, off topic, people, and from worse to even worse news, if you could say that. Death is nothing nice, and hopefully Pele is good in that. But apparently, he's been discharged from a Sao Paulo hospital. There's always heart in mouths when Pele's involved. He's been discharged from hospital after receiving treatment for a tumor and a urinary tract infection. So we wish the 81-year-old Brazilian legend all the best. What else have we got here? We'll get into that in a second. I feel like I'm missing things out, people, for you, though. We'll get into Jesse Marsch in a sec. As I was saying earlier, FIFA and UEFA have suspended Russia until further notice. The suspension means that barring any unlikely change of course in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the country will not face Poland in a World Cup playoff semi-final next month. UEFA has also terminated its deal with this energy company. And as I said earlier, Spartak Moscow has been dumped out of the Europa League. As I also said earlier, make sure you lot are here for this thing as well, people. We go there at 11:30. Big up everybody in the comments and things like that. The West don't care about Palestine, bro, because it's not on their doorstep, man. And the thing is, because you know why? there's a human element around this. I think one thing that I find, and if you're of any other descent that doesn't relate to European, or if you know, even if you are European, I would say the Zuma thing is irrelevant. But I would say for me in the UK, it kind of confirms what we know already. The way, again, we don't need to go over everything. We know Zuma was wrong, but the way man condemned and went hard against Zuma for this cap, they've never gone that hard for racism. And when you look at, for me, there's that. So we already know animals are more humanized and things. They've got a more person. A lot of people were affected because they've got pets and things like that. They don't necessarily know black or minorities and things. When I look at stuff like this, I feel when it comes to European conflict, there's this human element. They behave like people in the Middle East or wherever in Africa or wherever, are like rodents, are like leeches, are like the devil and things like that. There's almost like they're an inconvenience. But here you see the talk around, like every media station. There's they are human, but there's an element around that, and I think it's quite a kick in the teeth to know that really and truly European-centric lives are held in higher value. Look at what was going on in some sections of Ukraine. Their world's crushing. Man still find time to block borders and say, you can't come through, you can come through, and all of these sort of things. So I do think, it is quite crazy. I do think the human element levels and the way people have reacted, which is good because we need to save people, is quite damning. They don't care about Middle East because Europe's on their doorstep. They can see Ukraine. They humanize with that. They don't look at Palestinians and Africans and all this as human. When it's in your doorstep, you start to get scared. And that's one thing. Like I said, I hope everyone in Ukraine, no more bodies are dropped and all these things. But it's quite damning, really and truly. It's quite damning. But yeah, FIFA and UEFA have acted. Please do this for racism as well, because of the precedent you've set is amazing. UEFA and FIFA have suspended Russia's national and club teams from all competitions until further notice. The suspension means that barring any unlikely change, of course, in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the country will not be able to face Poland next month, and their women look set to be kicked out or are kicked out of the European Championship. Sparta Moscow's Europa League adventure is done. Sponsorships have been gone as well. Which teams are affected by suspension? In June, Russia in the Nations League were due to play Albania, Israel, and Ireland. And even, I don't want to say it, but, it was quite to hear Lewandowski and Szczesny's comments. You lot still played against Israel. People picking and choosing when to do morality police, if I'm honest, and everyone's a hypocrite. Everyone can't fight everybody's case and things like that. We live in a world where I might raise money for breast cancer. People will come out and say, "Oh, that means you don't care about other cancers. Then why are you putting that ahead?" So I get it, but I do find the language, the way people are acting, right is right and wrong is wrong. It's the maneuvers. I just feel, me as a minority, I have to watch it, and it makes me look at people a bit funny, like, right, okay, cool, say nothing. But yeah, they're affected by all of these sort of things. Again, all I care about is that people don't die, really. So there's that. I think we need to quickly go over to the Safari tab. What else is there? We've already spoken about the Roman Abramovich ones. There it is. Serious incident reported to Charity Commission after Chelsea Foundation giving stewardship and care of the club. A serious incident has been reported to the Charity Commission in the wake of Roman Abramovich's attempt to entrust the stewardship and care of Chelsea to the trustees of the club's charitable foundation. Crazy. Scrolling all the way down, it is understood they were not involved in a second statement released by the club, this foundation, on Sunday, expressing solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Apparently, the Charity Commission have said, we have contacted the charity seeking information, and in line with our guidance, the charity has also made a report to the commission. We cannot comment further at this time. According to the official Charity Commission guidance, a serious incident is defined as anything that represents harm to a charity's beneficiaries, staffs, volunteers, or others who have come into contact with the charity through its work, loss of charity's money or assets, damage to charity's property, or harm to charity's work or reputation. Responsibility of reporting serious incidences rests with the charity's trustees. And if they fail to do so in a timely manner, they may be required to explain why to the charity foundation. Chelsea's foundation has a considerable reputation to protect, having earned widespread praise in recent years, leading to work to combat all forms of discrimination, and in particular, its Say No to Anti-Semitism campaign launched personally by Abramovich in 2018. So yeah, man, more sanctions. And shit, more sanctions, people. So it's brazy in that regards, man. Big up Yards. I hope you're doing well and safe. The press love a good old demonization again, because many people don't do their own research. You know, I'm not saying you should feel Putin or Ukraine or the West or anybody's right or wrong, because everybody, all of these nations are fuckery. But people will not do their own homework. Will just look at what's being told in the papers. And as you know, when in war, the victors tell the narratives, and obviously in your countries it's propaganda. Look at North Korea. God knows what's on their TV. It's crazy. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. So I don't know, man. It's a crazy world we live in, man. And again, sometimes I feel that to be a thinker or just to use your brain, it does make you upset, man. Makes you upset. It makes you bored. So I can understand why. Not that I agree with it, but I understand why a lot of people just go through life on some ignorant thing. It's quite crazy, man. It's quite crazy. Gary Neville's he's no different from Piers Morgan, man. He's just a self-fulfilling vacuum. He just wants to be seen and heard saying the right things. And considering he's jumping into politics, there you have it, man. You know, they're all bellies of the same beast, man. Really and truly. And for me, just the way that the most chilling thing is just how some neighboring states to Ukraine, just how some MPs in other countries, just the way they're talking about European migrants and minorities. Like, it's freezing cold. Man are not even allowing little babies and pregnant women on the trains, and that they're having to fight to get on these things. I mean, man, humans are the worst, really and truly, man. That's bad mind stuff for true. But away from all of that, people, let's add a timestamp on that. Let's get into some lighter news, if we can say lighter news. You know, we've got the FA Cup, we've got a couple Premier League games, and Jesse Marsch has been announced, people. So yeah, let's get into that among other stuff. Pardon me, I don't know how good he is. You know, it didn't work out with the Red Bull company, did it? I swear he lasted like 40, 50 days at his last one. So I don't know. I don't know if he's cut out to keep them in the league. I don't know. But for what it's worth, Jesse Marsch appointed Leeds United head coach after Marcelo Bielsa departure, people. He signed a 3.5-year deal. He's previously coached at Salzburg and Red Bull and at Leipzig. And he started the season there, people. And, you know, it didn't work out. He lasted like 40 days. And, you know, considering the setup at these clubs is kind of, you know, streamlined, and it's kind of hard to fail. I look at him a bit funny. Is that, are you really the guy? Are you 30? You're gonna have to see. I have to see if I, you know, I don't know. And I mean, we'll get into it, but you know, he's a fan of Ralph Rangnick, which and stuff like that. I was reading the BBC, so we'll have to see. But the 48-year-old American started the season as RB Leipzig's head coach, replacing Nagelsmann. He did not last long, people. You know, they parted ways in December. He did not last long at all, people. He started the season August, and then he made it to December, really. So it's longer than 40 days. But I'm sure there was a period he did not last long at a club at all. Victor Orta said, "We are delighted to welcome Jesse to the club and excited for him to lead us into this new chapter. Jesse is someone we identified a number of years ago during his time at Salzburg. We believe his philosophy and style of play aligns with that of the club and will suit the players very well." I see off the field how he would tie in, because he's worked under similar structures. You know, he's got a welcome in. And to be fair, Leeds are, I won't say winnable games, definitely of Leeds' current form, but surely these games there, they could put up a fight, really. Their next 6 games, they're going to have to react against Leicester, Villa, Norwich, Wolves, Southampton, Watford again. Surely it's not the hardest of fixtures, not the easiest. And again, Leeds are fighting relegation, but yeah, man, you're playing at least 2 teams. Well, you're playing 2 teams fighting for relegation as well. We have a long-term plan and firmly believe he can take Leeds United to the next level, and are excited for what the future holds. Their chief executive, Angus Kinnear, said, "We are pleased to have quickly secured the services of our first choice head coach. While the short-term objectives for Jesse is obvious, staying in the league, we believe he has the courage and ambition to build on the strong foundations we have created over the last 4 years and elevate the team performance for the club over the long term. He has had great success with New York Red Bulls and RB Salzburg, and has demonstrated during our many meetings that he is a great fit with the footballing culture at Leeds United. He does look like a good fit. At this challenging time, it's important that the club remains united from top to bottom. The fans have been amazing throughout Andrea's tenure, and we have no doubt that they will unite behind Jesse and ensure the team quickly return to winning ways." Jesse Marsch himself said, obviously I'm excited, but I'm really focused on the tasks at hand. I know the situation is not exactly what everyone had envisioned when the season started, but I have my energy and I'm focused and I'm ready to do whatever it takes to help this team. I don't see it as 12 cup finals. I see it as 12 games is enough time. We have to stay calm. There's no panic. I mean, he's right, but I would have just thought, fans would have loved to hear 12 cup finals. I know there's been stress because of the way the last few games have gone, but I think for us, it's really important that we focus on every moment, every game, and every day, that we remove the stress and focus on things we can control. In general, in this football lifestyle, it's really important to understand that, but in the moment now, being calm, clear, and disciplined will help us. My respect for Marcelo Bielsa is massive. I've watched him for years. He has a unique playing style, a lot of what I believe in, and my playing principles are similar to the things that he likes and he does. I followed very popular managers wherever I've gone. I know there are challenges to that, but for me, it's focusing on who I am and what the job takes and what is necessary for the team to grow. Certainly, I know the fan base has a lot of loyalty to Marcelo, as they should, as he's a hero here. He brought the club back up to such a high level back in the Premier League. So for me, my task is to take the club to the next step. I think they'll be happy if you just keep them in the league first things first. But, I don't think he said anything wrong. I'm keen to see what you did, because it's a baptism of fire, really and truly. You're gonna have to show your certy from the jump, man. Big up yourself. Be better late than never, my guy. Don't apologize for being late. Let's scroll down. The short term is about keeping the club in the Premier League, but in the long term, it's about continuing to grow and to be the club the fans feel it deserves to be, which is one of the elite clubs in England. When asked if he would change his philosophy to be a more pragmatic approach in order to achieve the short term one, he said there's two things. The job of a manager is to create a mentality and environment that's about teamwork and achieving something together. Then there's playing style. I think I have a lot of similarities to Marcelo in terms of aggressiveness, the intensity, and the run performances. I am not man-to-man, more zonal, more ball-orientated. With the ball, I have few other tactical ideas, but I think transforming the group because of the way they act, behave, and think on the field won't be a huge 180-degree transfer. It will only require little adjustments, and my mentality is, I don't know what that meant to be, but is all about the group and maximizing people. There are young men who want to achieve something special, and it's my job to direct their energies in a way where they can understand we can do that together. This is what I love about football, the chance to work on that on a daily basis, then have the chance at the weekend to put it out there on the pitch. I mean, I'm watching Mighty Ducks, Coach Carter. One of them sort of things there, I hear what you're saying, not saying something wrong, but it just feels like I'm in a movie. Moneyball, it feels like I'm watching a sports movie. With a club of this size and these fans, I feel we have big possibilities. He's doing well. He hasn't said soccer yet, which is good. And it's my job to maximize the potential of the possibilities every day. I'm not here to be Bielsa. I'm here to continue the processes and take the next steps for the club. As proud as the fans are of their connection with Marcelo Bielsa, it's my job to ensure they can continue to be proud of what we are. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. And obviously, Leeds have missed a bunch of players. Cooper, Bamford, Phillips. They've missed hella tugs, but it's still no excuse for the form. Injuries, all these things are relevant in the Premier League. Let's see this article, people. Jesse Marsch, the American coach, Leeds United, hope can keep them up. Scrolling all the way down. We all know he's got big boots to fill. They've taken just 1 point from 18 available. Boy. He did fail at RB Leipzig. Last summer, he was viewed as the right man to build upon the Champions League semi-final, German Cup final, and third and second place Bundesliga finishes provided by Nagelsmann. His attempt would last just 4 months, 20 games in total, 14 in the Bundesliga, of which he won 7, lost 9, and left the club in 11th place. Much has been said and written about what went wrong, but the common consensus is that he was the right man and a decent, well-liked man with good tactical acumen at the wrong time. So maybe Leeds is the right thing for him. He clearly knows his thing, but it didn't work. I am keen to see what he does. If you really are like Salzburg and Leipzig and all these things, then there should be, first thing, the scouting should be elite. I can understand, like, he fits like a glove to what Leeds are doing, scouting, selling on players, everything, the whole system, he fits that. But we'll have to see what he's on, because it's a results game business, and his reputation clearly has taken a hit. And that's the thing, like you said, big shoes indeed. I swear there's a street in Leeds named after Bielsa, and a lot of Leeds fans were pissed off, but from what I see on social media, a lot of Leeds fans wanted Bielsa to be given time to turn it around. You know, they love the way he played football. They love who he was off the field, like on a regular basis. You know, you're seeing, you know, you would see him just randomly coach some random Leeds Sunday League under 11 side. He was a man of the people, really. And I'm nothing to do with Leeds, so I don't really care. But it is quite sad, really, you know, if I'm honest with you. But I do think he fits the system. Only time ultimately will tell if he'll able to. And the thing is, you know, it's a bit like Moyes when he left after Sir Alex Ferguson. It's like everything you do is going to be judged under, well, Ferguson would have done this, Ferguson would have done that. Now, obviously, with what you're seeing with Man United, obviously, man still talk about the Fergie Ray, rightly or wrongly, but the next managers aren't necessarily being killed for every, you know, if you walk left or you turn left, they would say, you know, Fergie went right. It's not really a thing like that. That's something that's going to go against him with BL. So I would say for Leeds fans, you probably have to remove emotion and understand that while it was a fantastic romance where Bielsa helped you return to the league, football is a results game business and it was never going to last forever. At some point, everything has to stop. The love drama with Klopp and Liverpool, at some point, it's got to end. At some point, Pep and City's got to end. Whether it ends because of results or whatever reason, I don't know. And I'm sure he's got the hunger to put respect back on his name, man, because, you know, the consensus is that he didn't do well, where he didn't do well, but that's not the full story. So I'm sure he would want to do things. He had a 14-year playing career, people. He retired in 2020 to do up coaching. His first role was an assistant under Bob Bradley. Remember, man, like Bob Bradley? What a throwback. He cut his managerial teeth with an unspectacular spell at Montreal Impact before taking a 3-year break, which included a 6-month sabbatical from football to travel to 32 countries with his family, staying in hospitals in order to broaden his perspective on life. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, that's something I see everybody do. If certain people can go and do that, man, I would have bills to pay personally. But a 2015 Supporters Shield win and the most victories by any coach at New York Red Bulls would earn him the right to obviously go to Europe, and he became an assistant under Ralph Rangnick. The German clearly has had an impact on Hasenhuttl, Tuchel, Klopp, so there probably will be elements in Jesse Marsch's game. He describes Rangnick as a genius who really opened his eyes on how detailed you can be about this game, which is fair enough. You know, he deployed a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 at his previous clubs, people, which is crazy, and he done all right in Austria, didn't he? So we'll have to see, people, really, with what he's doing, man. We'll have to see, but that's Jesse Marsch. Everton are right to feel hard done by, and you heard that Everton complained to the Premier League over a clear handball. You know, I'd say City owners are paying the right money. Personally, how that's not given, I don't know. But when you lot find out, let me know, people. But yeah, Everton got shagged and they were vexed, and Lampard was quite crazy in relation to that. But since then, apparently Mike Riley has personally apologized to Everton's Bill Kenwright and Frank Lampard. Now, for me, sorry's not enough, because this is going to happen again. And sorry, when you're fighting relegation like Everton, or you're fighting for the league like City, this has ramifications. Now, everybody makes mistakes, but far too frequently are we seeing this in the Premier League. And again, I think we're seeing this because, again, it creates talking points. Me and you are this morning talking about it. It probably is still being talked about on Sky Sports. My conspiracy theory is it helps with the entertainment aspect of the Premier League. So I don't feel they want to make the right decisions, because I mean, blatant handball, Rodri under no pressure, blatant handball, hands not in a natural position. You know, how can you not give a pen for this? But if you're standing, if I'm in the box defending and you're next to me, like where my laptop is, and you blast it into my hand, and I've done that, my hand just happens to be like that, my hand's in an unnatural position, allegedly, penalty, done. You know, it feels, I'm not gonna lie, if it was the other way around, I don't think City get it given. But anyways, you know, Lampard has been told sorry. I don't know if that helps, you know. That's a bit dead. The PGMOL managing director has made a personal telephone to issues to say sorry, but we need to see ramifications. If a manager messes about, he loses his job. If a player plays shit, he gets dropped. If you or I in our jobs or our life, you know, if I'm shit at my job, you lot stop subscribing, stop watching, man. If you lot shit at your jobs, you're off, you know, you get pulled into the office, or you lose your job, or if you have your own business, then you don't get clients. What happens to referees? Yeah, the occasional ref might get dropped into the lower leagues for a week or so, and then he's back. There's no ramifications. And I feel in this country, referees can't be criticized personally. That's the same way you with footballers. And the journalists. This is why we've got some of the worst journalists, and they say the same old rehearsed stories and whatnot. And then they've got this. Dermot Gallagher said, it's a penalty, no doubt. no doubt. I think the VAR inspected it for too long. There are a couple of angles that may have affected the decision. But then again, but this is what we know. You lot start putting up bare different things, and I don't know how it would happen, but this is where you probably got to lean towards more Hawkeye, because I've always said it. No matter how much the advancements of VAR is, and VAR is not the problem, it's the fact that there's a human element, and it's down to interpretation, and humans are subject to unconscious and unconscious biases and different interpretations, and essentially that's all VAR is. It's a bunch of referees in a room watching the game again and again and again. It's not a computer thing where you can argue with a computer, really and truly. I heard there was, people were offside in the build-up and all of these sort of things, but Dermot Gallagher has said it's a pen, so he kind of deems it irrelevant. He did use his upper arm, it was brazy, man. Kavanagh did affected, chose to not to give it. And as you saw, Ashley Cole was given a yellow card. Lampard was very vocal, again, but I do think we need to move away from, it's not VAR, it's how VAR is being implemented. I used to say VAR is a myth. It's a myth. There's nothing wrong with it. It's how it's being used. It's how it, it's like a tradesman getting his plumbing tools and being a shit plumber. Is it the tools, which it might be, or is it you? And there might be problems with VAR, I think fans can be a bit harsh. I feel you can't have the, even me, I do it as well. At times it takes long to reach a decision, but I don't think you can complain about that and want the right decisions. You need to give and take a bit. But yeah, Everton have been issued an apology. Not sure that does much for them, because they may or may not have got a point, or who knows, that goal might have sprung them on to win the game, really. And we don't know what that means for the title race. We don't know what that could mean for Everton staying in the division. I think them and Leeds will be okay, but boy, same way Newcastle at times look nailed on to go down. They got out of it. They're like 14th now. I still think Norwich are going down. Burnley look like they're twanging it. This can cost, literally, these results like this cost people their jobs, because obviously Everton are a Premier League club, but footballers are going to have to leave. Coaches will leave. There might be a knock-on effect with match day staff, etc., etc. As we all know, as much as Premier League clubs in the Premier League is far removed from reality, not naturally, every business doesn't want to lose money. You want to keep money in and stop money going out. That's essentially how you make profit. And these things can have ramifications. Even certain Premier League, certain footballers at Everton, they may not play Premier League football again, really. So I'm being a bit extreme, but this is why it's crucial. It's literally costing people their jobs and ish like that. What's all of this? We've seen, as I was saying already, Spartak Moscow have been basically removed from the Europa League by UEFA after the invasion of Ukraine. So that's Spartak Moscow gone. I'm not going to lie, considering the racist antics of Spartak Moscow, a part of me, I know it's not nice, but a part of me was quite happy to see that, and it was quite ironic seeing that the way they were chatting about it. So it is what it is. I've already said Roman Abramovich is doing up Peacemaker. Jesse March interview, ain't no one trying to see that. Ain't no one trying to see that. Shout out to him. You look, can watch this if you want, listen to this if you want. I'll be real. My idea of leadership by listening. I mean, to be a leader, you need to listen. You can't lead if you can't follow. I always say that. That's great. But again, am I watching Mighty Ducks or Disneyland Channel or Bend It Like Beckham or whatever, bro? Man's here for football. I'm not here for this. Like, man, just want to know if you're a footballer, bro. I don't care about the human element. I mean, Arsenal's lack of winning stuff has made me a villain, really and truly, man. I'm becoming more Jose Mourinho than Arsene Wenger, man, as I keep saying. It's making me an absolute villain. Obviously, in relation to, well, we don't know. I don't know. I was about to start talking about the football fixtures to come. Obviously, today you've got Burnley, Leicester, where Burnley are fighting to stay in the league. Turf Moor on a weekdays is a brazy one. Leicester's form is brazy. Do you know what? I might actually back Burnley for that. I hope Leicester win. I might back Burnley for a cheeky 2-1. In terms of the FA Cup, as you got bare Championship, League One, League Two, National League, all that sort of stuff. If you're into that, don't forget, people, you've got the Italian Coppa Italia, which I need to change that on Twitch because it's not Serie A. Apologies, people, but you can hear myself. Sorry, people. As I said, we're doing a watch along. I'm going to be live from 7:30 for that one. So let's actually change that right now. Yeah, I praise you lot for saving me, man, because I can't lie, we was gonna do a watch along anyways, but it's not looking promising. it hasn't been looking promising with some of the games. But yeah, man, as I said, I'm going to be doing a watch along for that on Twitch. Make sure you set your reminders for such. You've got Burnley, Leicester in the Premier League. In the FA Cup, you've got Peterborough against Manchester City from 7:15. City clearly going to make a heavily rotated side. I hope Peterborough can do their best to make a meal of it, but probably a big ask. Crystal Palace against Stoke. Again, I'm backing Vieira on the best of days. I back anyone against Stoke. I know Arsenal and them are not beefing, but I'll always wish the worst on Stoke. Unless you lot want to employ me, we know what happened against them. Them man are pagans. You've got Middlesbrough against Tottenham. Middlesbrough, who defeated Man United, I guess are not to be taken lightly. You've got young Balogun, where hopefully it's written in the stars he scores. I personally think Spurs will wrap that up in the first half, really. And you've heard, Son Heung-min says Tottenham ready to suffer to win the FA Cup, people. He has said he is ready to work hard. He's dying for a trophy, really. He said everyone wants to win. Everyone does. To win a trophy, you need to suffer a lot. I play for the win. No, you don't. You play for bloody Spurs, mate. But I hear you, banter aside. You're right. And I do like your mentality, I do like the mentality of a lot of Asian-based footballers as well. I play for the win. I want to enjoy playing football. But at the end, there's a winner and a loser. You're more, a lot about that. Who suffers more, I think, wins. It means a lot for me. I'm going to work hard and play hard for myself, for the club. I can't say what it means to win a trophy for this club. You can't say what it means to win a bloody trophy for Spurs. It's going to be incredible, but we need to suffer a lot. I'm ready to suffer in every game. I will try my best like I always do. Son, you're a good guy. I like you, but you play for the pagans, innit? So I can't let it happen, really and truly. On the topic of Son as well, people, Conte has insisted his outburst after his loss to Burnley was emotional, was not emotional, but strategic. And we did know there was an element of strategy behind it. He's putting pressure on the board, but a lot of it was emotional. And Conte, we know you're an emotional guy. Football makes man emotional. But, it is what it is. He said, he said, I think you have to understand when there's a strategy or not, and not only an emotional moment. Maybe I can explain to you every time we have a press conference, there's a strategy behind it, not an emotional moment. I understood that it was the right moment after 4 defeats in 5 games and following the win against Man City 3 days ago to send a clear message to myself, the club, and also the players. And as I said at the time, one thing I think he was trying to do on top of getting vexed at the board was, if the players really do ride for him and they are working hard and they're seeing the team mess about and all of these sort of things, he's probably trying to guilt trip the players. Off topic, people. Timiskas has been contacted and reminded of his abilities of his responsibilities after you saw him allegedly spit some gum out. Harvey Elliott the FA have written to Liverpool for observations on Harvey Elliott, or just after he held a flare. I mean, come on now, man. This is a young lad who's a boyhood Liverpool fan who wasn't even meant to be in the squad, who has taken a penalty, who has won a trophy, first time in his career, actually played, not just been a sideman where, you are a first team player, but you don't come to the games and that. Well, you're a fan basically, and everyone's in their kit gear and you're not. Come on now. Like, obviously, he's a young lad. He probably got a bit excited. You probably, you saw the excitement where he's trying to back Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, bloody hell, FIFA, UEFA, the FA, they just proved they've never played the game time and time again. But carrying on with Conte said, we have to know we are here to enjoy football at the same time to improve ourselves, to ask ourselves for 100% commitment and desire, and also to underline that a team like Tottenham does not exist to lose 4 in 5. Bro, you man used to finish 13th and that. What are we talking about? Your best ever time with Pochettino, the highlights, getting to a final. Not winning it, getting to a final. There's all this talk about Spurs coming a big club. If someone understood that my words were from an emotional moment, no, in that moment, I sent a specific message to the whole environment, and it has happened in the past when I want to push the situation and the environment in the same direction because I'm seeing we can do better. It's not because it's an emotional moment. It's because there's a strategy behind it, people, is what he has said. So make of that what you want. Obviously, make sure you set your reminders for 11:30. What's the time now? We go live with that one soon. Man said the Spurs squad are soft. Got baby lotion stuff, 100%. There's no doubt a penalty day. Them man in VAR trucks were drunk and high. Probably needed to be. I'd like refs and VARs with mics like rugby and cricket, makes them more accountable. And people would probably allow them a lot more if we could see all of that, man. Probably let them off a lot more. Like, people still be frustrated, but it doesn't seem like only referees do I see consistently rewarded for failure? Like there's certain refs you'll fail today, so they say, you know what, FA Cup final, you'll do that. Like, boy. Even in the EFL trophy, there was a lot of, man said EFL, even in the EFL Cup final, there was a lot of dodgy decisions. But as I said, Middlesbrough, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Stoke, Middlesbrough, Peterborough. I mean, Peterborough United, Manchester City, Middlesbrough, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Stoke, Burnley, Leicester in the Premier League. If you want, you've got Cardiff versus Derby County in the Championship. Tomorrow, people, again, I should have done a vote because I don't know what watch along we're doing tomorrow. You've got a bag of Scottish football. But in the FA Cup, you've got Luton welcoming Chelsea. You've got Southampton, West Ham. You've got Liverpool against Norwich. And I'm sure Liverpool, that'll be a time to rest some players. But Klopp won't want you to rest on your laurels. You know, it's back to business. Pardon me, and they're trying to challenge for everything. You saw Salah's Instagram or Twitter post where he said 1 down. In France, you've got the Coupe de France. You've got Nantes against Monaco. You've got Coppa Italia, Fiorentina against Juventus, which could be a Vlahovic derby. I'm probably going to do a watch along for that. Thursday's meaty, man. You've got Real Betis against Vallecano, and you've got Everton against Boreham Wood. Come on, Boreham Wood. You look side now Ranger, man. Big respect for me for that one. So yeah, that's that. It's a dead day for football, ain't it? Really slow ass news day. So we'll have to see, man. Really and truly, that's that. Lunch break settings. Appreciative to you spending your lunch break here. You know, so I think that's actually all I've got in relation to the world of football, people. Let's put that out there. Let's look at some transfer news then, innit? Because what else is there to look at? Transfer news. Let's add that timestamp. Appreciative to the Twitch gang for being tuned in, as I already mentioned. Don't know. The internet's being a pain in the arse. It is raining over here, so I can't. The comments are acting, so we're just gonna have to hold it. Breakfast settings for you. I ain't even had that. Everybody's playing apart from Arsenal. Got to give the heart a rest. We got again against Watford, bro. This is why I didn't laugh at United fans for that Watford game. You know, we gotta play them. I hope Roy Hodgson lets us off. You know, we're London Coley brothers. Watford, I think you're gone anyways, but it is what it is. Always nice listening to you in the morning, DJ. It's always nice allowing you lot, you lot allowing me to be able to host you lot. Without you lot, it'd be stupid being this. So I appreciate that, man. Again, big up the Aussies. Stupid a clocking Aussie, man. You lot are clocking out, but I appreciate that. You know, big up you lot. Let's look at the Premier League, man. Let's look at the Premier League because really and truly, what else is there to talk about? Conte out, but Conte speaks. Let's make sure we've made that. Again, no YouTube / content creator / Twitcher, if that is even a word, cares about you lot the most. I know on Twitch you can't put timestamps, but when it's uploaded on YouTube, they're damn right you better bloody hope your bottom dollar there is. Damn right there is. But let's look at the transfer news. I'm seeing there's just the first headline before I've read anything. I'm seeing Osimhen, Paulina, Messi, Mbappe, Saka, Yates, and David. So Osimhen, hope that's something to do with Arsenal. Messi, I don't know what's that. Saka is probably a contract. Crazy. Manchester United are not prepared to pay 100 million to sign 23-year-old Victor Osimhen from Napoli, just the 80 million on Maguire. Then, on a serious note, nice to see they're learning. Geopolitics could be a good player. The 26-year-old Sporting Lisbon Portuguese midfielder is quite decent. Apparently, Manchester United are looking at him, and they could probably get personal accounts from the Brunos, the Delots, the Ronaldos, etc. Newcastle once again have been linked with a move for Kepa, who were public enemy number 1. David Beckham's MLS franchise into Miami will do everything they can to sign Lionel Messi should he look to leave PSG. Real Madrid are keen to finalize a deal to sign Kylian Mbappe from PSG before they pursue other transfer targets or offer contract extensions to current players, obviously with the financial things that has. On that as well, you do hear the latest is that Mbappe is actually on staying because he wants to overtake Cavani's PSG record or something like that. So he might sign a new deal. Jonathan David is determined to leave Lille this summer, handing the Gunners an incentive to sign him. Saka is really happy at Arsenal, despite reports suggesting that the 20-year-old has put contract talks on hold. Where, again, let's make sure I'm just going to get that for 11:30 as well. Nottingham Forest have opened contract talks with Ryan Yates, 24-year-old, as they also have a battle to keep Welsh midfielder Brennan Johnson, who's been linked with Tottenham. He ripped Arsenal. He's quite a decent player. Obviously, he's got a famous father. He's quite a decent player, and respectfully, Forest, I think he could move to Brentford, Leeds, and all of these sort of things. I don't think he takes Tottenham to the next level, but fair play. LA Galaxy are interested in signing Sergio Ramos, who, as you know, has struggled at PSG to just be available. Not Tottenham, Barcelona. Yeah, well, he was linked with Tottenham heavily. Tottenham are probably going to be upset because Kessié looks set to complete a free move to Barcelona. Ajax want to sign Jordi Cruyff. Don't know why I said Cruyff there. Cruyff as their new sporting director. Crystal Palace are bugging out, and they want to sign Dani Ceballos. Juventus just can't stop signing their best Italian talents in the country. They've signed. They want to sign Zenolio, who is stalling on a new contract. They also want to permanently keep Morata. Allegedly, Pep has said Jack Grealish should ignore public opinion when he returns from injury. Wasn't he on the bench about injury? Chelsea have the most profitable football academy in the Premier League, according to a new study that shows the club generated 175 million from player sales. We knew that, really. We knew that. But yeah, Pep Guardiola, he said maybe he listened too much to what people say. I mean, with Grealish, that was always going to happen. Just like with Jadon Sancho as well. Everything you do is going to be scrutinized or praised ridiculously. Rio Ferdinand said Man United must write off the next 2 years, by the way. Don't really care what Rio has to say. But I would say the problem for Grealish is, as I've said, he's at 26 years of age. He is being retaught everything he knows about football. Everything that he was praised and Villa fans might have praised him for. Pep don't care about none of that. Pep wants you, everything you think is getting rehearsed. Everything that was flying at Villa is not happening. So you're relearning that. I would say for me, he's fitted in. He's not stood out. You look like a City player. I wouldn't know that you just signed for City, but you don't look like 100 mil man. You can't control the price tag. He does need to adapt. There's been times where Bernardo Silva was a sideman. He signed himself. So things can happen, man. People need to adapt. And like you said with Mahrez, there's been times these guys are quiet and then they go through the purple patch. I've got no doubt, I would say, with Grealish. He's 26. His best days are in front of him. He can play all the positions Pep wants. It's just about relearning. Obviously, he ain't bagged like that yet. He's not been prolific. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists. Is what it is. Pep has told Jack Grealish to ignore public opinion. Could you imagine if Harry Kane did sign for City and he was thinking up the place with his early Spurs form? It'd be crazy. But he's told Grealish to ignore public opinion. As you know, Grealish has missed the last 4 games with a shin injury, and he could be set to play tonight. The England man has 3 goals and 3 assists since joining from Villa, and accepts he'll be judged on those statistics. I mean, one thing with Grealish, he said he don't mind all of that, really. But Pep himself said the statistics are better or similar to Aston Villa in terms of ball contact. We didn't buy him to score 45 goals. He doesn't have that quality. He has another one, which is true. Players today play for statistics, but this is the biggest mistake they can do. Trust me. And even Benzema has said all of that. New signings often take time to settle, and obviously Guardiola believes he can. And shout out to him because he was gassing up Arsenal. He was like Arsenal, Leeds, Liverpool, and he said someone else, Villa, I think, that none of these guys sit back. Bit harsh on Southampton, I feel, but maybe he forgot them. Jack is playing well. If he wasn't, I would tell him. But so yeah, that's it. I thought there would be a lot more to say. But all right, Grealish, that seems to be that with Jack Grealish. Bit interesting. Let's make sure we add that to the timestamp as well. Where is it? Pep defends Grealish. Exactly. I mean, but there's very few guaranteed start. You have to make yourself a guaranteed starter. Like you've seen at times, there was times you could not drop Gundogan. You could not drop Bernardo Silva. You could not drop Sterling. You could not drop Mahrez. There's always times like that. Even John Stones, you could not drop John Stones. You cannot drop Diaz. Cancelo wasn't playing from the start at City. He just became undroppable and whatnot, playing mad. You're all good players. So within the grand scheme of things, you're all average. If I go to one school in one part of England and I'm getting A stars, everybody else is getting C's and that, they say, oh, you're a smart lad. Let's, you could be someone, let's put you on a gifted and talented program. They send me to another part of London or England or whatever now. And everybody's doing what I was doing, A stars, all these things. Am I smart or am I average now? I'm in a room with everyone. Obviously I am still smart, but you're average. That's the thing with Grealish now. It's not about being you are a baller, but being a baller's got you there. It's like all them City academy players and all of them things there, whether they're brought in from other parts of the world or other clubs in England or whatever. You're there because you're a baller. You know, you would probably a big fish in a small pond somewhere, but you're all there because you're ballers. So are you necessarily a baller now, or are you just average? How do you stand out? Make yourself undroppable. It's crazy. So it's one of them ones. I can't begrudge a man for joining City because they don't, you know. How can you turn down the chance to play under Pep Guardiola as a player? They've got so many options that if someone's having a poor run or injured, there's someone to step in and it doesn't affect the team. Trust. What else is there in relation to football? Sky Sports transfer news. Let's see what's going on here. Wrap this. As we spoke about yesterday, Ranić has Ronaldo reservations. Jesse Marsch has joined Leeds, if you don't know already. Keziah Sterling has signed a 2-year contract with South Georgia Tormentor FC, who play in the 3rd tier in America. Shout out to him, man, because he went to my school. And I see him and now he used to play for my team, so big up him. It's the same old people, really, with this paper talk stuff. Let's see what's going on here. We already know about Kevin Botman. It's the same old, really. Let's go on goal.com. Let's give goal.com a chance. Let's give them a chance. Big up you lot for tuning in. As I said, people, don't forget, we go live at 11:30 on YouTube. The grind does not stop. And then again, 7:30 for Inter, AC, Milan derby settings, people. Hopefully that's a good one. If not, we're going to just have to cry because, to be fair, the last Italian watch-along we did was meaty. Transfer news. Laporte wants Dembele deal despite free transfer admission. He's now calling for him to get fresh terms. You see, Barcelona fans are shameless. You're booing the man till he showed you that I'm a baller and absolutely fizzied one goal in last night, well, 2 days ago, and showed you what he's on, people. In terms of transfer news, new one, Barcelona are monitoring Argentine sensation Mateus Galazara. Never seen him play before, but, you know, South American bias. I'm going to do my research. Real Madrid are interested in Yeremy Pino, who, for me, he's done all right. I know he scored 4 goals or so in one game, so now he's going to be flavor of the month. Roma have joined Barcelona in looking at Christensen on a free transfer. Lewandowski is open to joining Atletico Madrid. Lille have set an asking price for Jonathan David, which is, they want 46 million quid. AC Milan are not chasing Noni Madueke or Anthony from Ajax. Laporte once again has said, I hope Dembele reconsiders Barcelona renewal. See, he's done capping. Arsenal and Manchester United are interested in Fabian Ruiz. Crazy. What else have we got? LA Galaxy, we've spoken about that. PSG ramping up efforts to keep Mbappe. That's about it. It's quite a shit news day, if I'm honest with you, really. So that's that. On that note, though, people, I can't lie. I'm going to go and get some breakfast. I appreciate the Twitch gang for being tuned in. Like I said, I go live at 11:30 and then I go live again at 7:30 p.m. On Twitch to do the Milan derby in the Coppa Italia. We've spoken about Conte. We've spoken about the latest with Ukraine and Russia. We've spoken about some football talking points. Don't forget, 10 a.m. tomorrow, we'll be doing the same thing. For now, you should know the procedure, people. So, yeah, man, appreciative to everybody who's spent their morning, afternoon, evening, or night just listening to me chat ball for an hour or so. So, yeah, man, make sure you're following and subscribe. Take care. Stay blessed. I'll catch you lot in a bit, people, really and truly. No one's actually followed in this live stream. It's one of the first ones in a while. But yeah, one love for everyone who has followed and whatnot recently and my long-term supporters. I'm out.
Always use that active red light, defending.
I've been given, like,